And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
There are some games which just fire on all four cylinders. Their presentation is just amazing. Their simplicity is welcoming to everybody. The strategy is evident. They're just pure fun to play. I think I've passed 4 things by now. But this is one of those games, I think, and that's Tobago, or Tobago, or however you pronounce the name. The game itself is really amazing to look at, so stop looking at me, let's look at the game. The board itself is made up of 3 pieces which can be flipped and matched around, so you have multiple different combinations of making this island. But this is just amazing. I mean, you can see the artwork itself is pretty cool, but these pieces here, these little Easter Island type statues, there's trees, there's huts, the cards, I mean, it comes out in a very neat presentation. And then over here we have piles of cubes, and I can imagine some of you saying, oh, cubes. But in this game, cubes are not what you might think they are. See, what you're trying to do is you are attempting to find buried treasure on this island. And you are doing that through a series of almost reverse deduction. There's a bunch of cards over here, and players will start with some of these cards in their hand. And there's 4 treasures on the island. Each one of these matches one of these colors: white, black, gray, and brown. Over here you see some other color pieces, but those are for players. Anyway, on your turn, or at the beginning of the game basically, you will start by putting one of these cards next to each of the treasures. And the player who plays the card next to the treasure puts one of their tokens on to show that they're the player who put that down. But each of these tells you a clue about where the treasure is hidden. So for example, the brown one says the treasure is not within 2 spaces of any of the huts. The gray treasure says that treasure is next to a river spot. The yellow treasure is on a river spot. And the blue treasure is not within 1 or 2 spaces of a palm tree. Now, that's not good enough to find out yet, but as the game goes by, players will have the opportunity to place more of these cards next to something. So say for example, this one here, we'll start with yellow. Yellow is on a river spot, but it is not next to a tree. Now, let's go look at the board. On the board right now, there's only so many river spots. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 river spots that could be put down, but many of them are next to trees. So I can actually take these gray cubes and put them on the spots that the treasure could possibly be. It could be here, here. It could be here, here, or here. That's only 5 spots. And so we're narrowing down where the treasure is. Again, you can find where the treasure is by placing these pieces down and by removing them. So you're slowly eliminating where the different places the treasure can be. So on your turn you can play a card and eliminate one of the treasures on the board, or one of the possible spots, or you can move your car, your Land Rover, which can move on the board. You can move it 3 spots. It can cost 1 to go into a spot next to you, or it can cost 1 to move as far as you can in that same kind of terrain. So if I want to go here, it would cost me 1, 2, and then 3. Or I could move it like this: 1, 2, 3. There's just different ways that you can move it on the board. And if you move to a spot that is the only spot where a treasure can be, then you find that treasure. So let's say the gray treasure has been the one that's been found. And we see the players who have played the cards that have been eliminating it down, and then blue puts a token there because he is the one who found the treasure. When this happens, players will be drawing from a deck of treasure cards, and they will draw, each player, for example yellow here, will draw 2 treasure cards, and he will look at them. So for example, he sees a 5 and a 3. Green draws 1, looks at it, sees a 4. Blue draws 1, sees a 2. And red draws 1 and sees a 5. Now the cards go from 2 to 5, and players are 2 to 6 actually, and players want to get the best treasures if they possibly can. 1 card then is pulled from the deck and shuffled together with all these cards. And the way the treasure distribution handles is like this. We put the treasure cards out there and we turn the top one over. It's 2. And we say to blue, do you want the 2 treasure? He says no. Red, do you want it? No. Yellow, do you want it? No. Do you want it? Yellow, no. Green, do you want it? No. Alright, fine, no one gets that treasure. We turn over to the next one. It's a 5. Blue, do you want it? Blue thinks, well, there could be a 6 treasure in there, but 5 seems pretty good. So he takes it. His token's gone, and he gets 5. Then we turn over the next card. 4. Red, do you want it? Red thinks, oh, maybe there's a better one. I'll hold up. Goes to yellow. Yellow says, yeah, I'll take it. So yellow's token is gone. And we keep doing this. Red says no. Yellow says no. Green says yes, because green realized if he doesn't say yes on that last one, he's not getting treasure. We turn the next one over. Red says, yes, I'll take a 4. And then yellow's happy because yellow gets a 5. And that's how the treasure distribution occurs. Once it happens, we put out another card to start another gray treasure, and we continue on. Now, that's not all the game itself here. There's a few other things. Every time a treasure is found, these statues will put out one of these tokens directly in front of them, all the way up to the ocean, and then they will rotate 60 degrees. And they will continue doing this throughout the game. As players move their cards over the tokens, they can get these tokens. And these tokens here, these are all in anything, these amulets. You can use them to move extra spaces when you're driving. You can use them to take a cube off the board. Let's say there's only 2 left. You can use it to remove one of them to narrow down the treasure. You can move it. You can use one to get rid of all the clue cards in your hand and get new ones. But one of the most interesting things is, in this deck of treasure cards, there's a couple curse cards. And when these show up, no one gets any treasure. In fact, the person who gets the curse card has to put their highest treasure back. But of course, an amulet will protect you from that. So amulets are very handy, and players should attempt to get those at all if possible. When a treasure deck runs out, the game's over. Everyone counts up the coins and their treasure cards. Whoever has the most is the winner. People like the idea of finding treasure. People like the idea of exploring on an island. People like these awesome components and a beautiful board. Some people will love this deduction. That's what I love about the game. Pinning down exactly where the treasure are. And then the treasures themselves, it's almost like a different game. You know, these two different ideas mixed together. You have figuring out where the treasure is and then drawing the treasures and hoping you get good ones. And it's just all packed in there. It works really well. Unfortunately, it only goes up to 4 players. I wish it went higher than that. But this is probably the best family game of the year. I would be hard-pressed to think of anything better fit for a family than this one, with just a gorgeous presentation, very fun, very easy, can be played in an hour, and yet provides a lot of fun and a lot of choices. This is a great game, and I think we'll be talking about this one many years from now.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.